Well, welcome to the 139th annual meeting of the Dante Society of America on the 700th anniversary year of the death of our poet. This has been and will continue to be a busy year for events celebrating and interrogating our Dante. This pandemic, among its many far graver effects on our world, has sent our little organization for a few loops. We would normally have held our last annual meeting, the 138th, in St. Louis, Missouri last May. And as you know, we postponed that meeting and conference planned around the conference planned around it called Dante Somma Luce, organized by our colleague and Society Treasurer, Michael Scherberg. And then finally, relying almost entirely on the resourcefulness of Professor Scherberg, we mounted that conference in the now ubiquitous Zoom environment on Saturday, September 26th. So that was when our last annual meeting was in September, less long ago than usual. The minutes of all our recent annual meetings are on our dantesociety.org website under the heading of meetings and events, and then past DSA meetings and events. And as you will see in those minutes, I elencated at that meeting some of the benefits of membership in the Dante Society, which is $40 for college and university professors, $30 for K-12 school teachers, and $20 for students. To those, I might add, those benefits, I might add the use of the Society's Facebook page, which is currently closed to members for a series of social media related concerns, but you can use it because you are members. We are grateful for your support of this society, but would like to emphasize that its mission is, despite the Facebook being closed, is not to exclude, but to include. And to quote our website, this mission is to encourage the study and appreciation of the time, life, works, and cultural legacy of Dante Alighieri, and I would add, throughout the world. At our recent conference, just finished this past Thursday, May 13th, we contemplated Dante in the Americas, thereby including and indeed highlighting the non-Anglophone reception and studies that have occurred and are ongoing in our hemisphere and on both of the continents called America. But as Christian Dupont, our indefatigable secretary and librarian, pointed out at the council meeting yesterday, our society has become quite transnational, a far cry from the small elite New England Gentlemen's Club in the shadow of Harvard University where it began. And part of the reason for that is the reach of English, which has become the cosmopolitan language. Our members are not limited to New England or to the United States or even North America. And that is something I think worth celebrating with respect to our poet who was so averse to municipal, tribal, partisan, sectarian rivalries and hatreds, and maintained what might seem to some a wildly improbable universalist view of our common humanity. Our mission is to open minds and doors to Dante for free. This is the spirit of the Speakers Bureau, which you can find on the website under Education and Outreach, where members of the Dante Society are interested in talking to groups of all kinds, schools or reading groups, free of charge, for the love of Dante that they are happy to share and transmit. It is also the spirit behind Canto per Canto, Conversations with Dante in Our Time, YouTube video series, which was crowdsourced, we might say, from the talent of our members, but is offered for free and in perpetuity to whomever might be interested or pointed there by a teacher or friend. Our recent conference was free and open to the public, although registration was required. It was free of charge. Its recordings will remain available on that site for 3 months, after which it will be housed on the Dante Society of America site and YouTube channel, as are the proceedings of previous annual conferences at the DSA. One of the silver linings of this horrific pandemic, as many have noted, is that we have had greater attendance at all our events. This meeting might be the exception, because everyone can tune in from wherever they are for free. In the context of this great freedom, this great openness, this exponentially increased availability, I want all the more to thank you all for supporting the society by being card-carrying members, by being active and vocal, by offering your talents and services, and by making financial contributions over and above our modest membership dues. So with that, we should move into our meeting, and I believe the first order of business is the approval of the minutes from the 138th annual meeting.
That'd be the first order of business, except for me to recognize, again, Christian DuPont as Secretary and Librarian for the Dante Society of America. Allison is our president for your first year with us. So congratulations, you were elected at a time during great stress in society overall and taking up leadership of our burgeoning society, which is, and there's our past president, Nancy Vickers, one of our past presidents, clapping in the background along with others. And your leadership this last year has been just tremendous, and reflecting on behalf of our membership, the initiatives that we've done, and as you reported just now, and we'll say more about later as we look ahead to the next year. So again, thank you, and hear from the chat from Louis and others. So as you've indicated, Allison, this is a business meeting of the society. That's the purpose. We are and you will be hearing next from our treasurer, Michael Scherberg, about the state of finances of our society. We are a nonprofit registered corporation in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, so we are required by the laws of the Commonwealth or bylaws to hold an annual membership meeting. So that is what we're doing here. Of course, at the same time, we want this to be an informative and even social event. So I'll just say, especially with our Zoom protocol here, please go ahead and if you have questions as we go along, I will try to monitor the chat. We're all on screen here together. You don't have to type your questions by chat here. We can even open up the mics and talk, and we'll certainly reserve some time at the end, kind of under new business or old business, to discuss things, okay? But we do need to attend to certain aspects of business, which include, first of all, to approve the minutes. We're going to approve a couple of documents here. We need to affirm that there is in fact a quorum today. So thank you, all of you, for attending in person. And you can vote by acclamation when we call for votes. We can, and also, as you've noted from my previous communications out to the society, we people have assigned proxy to me as secretary, so my vote counts for a few more. So basically, our society's bylaws require attendance or representation by 25% of our total membership at our annual meeting, which as of May 1st included a total of 471 members across all of our categories. I'll say a little more about that during my actual secretary's report. So our quorum threshold is 118 members, and during the 2021 ballot process, 9 members indicated they plan to attend the annual meeting, while 22 indicated they would not, but assigning their proxy to me. Another 103 members indicated by that Google form that we circulated separately, which is the only way we'll do this in advance. I think we'll skip the question on the ballot going forward. The Google form seems to work much better, that they would not attend the meeting but assign their proxy to me. So between the ballot process and the Google form, 125 proxies were assigned. And in addition, there were 37 registered for our meeting today, and there are 22 of us attending, so we are above that threshold of 118. So we do have a valid business meeting here at our annual meeting. So I did distribute the copies of the draft minutes from the last meeting just a few hours ago. I actually do put those out on the annual or on our website, as Allison noted. Somehow I had only posted the agenda. I thought I'd circulated to council. Previously, council did look it over, but I somehow missed a step and did not actually post it there. But perhaps you've had a little bit of time in the meantime, or would like to take a moment now to review the document. The minutes, I would say, are quite lengthy because they serve not only as minutes of our business meeting, but now as an annual report of the society. Formerly, a couple-page report was published in the With Dante study, sort of in the rear material. But we decided a couple of years ago that we would make those available actually just on the web and in lieu of an annual report. So that's part of the reason why the minutes are as lengthy, fulsome as they are. Any comments, questions on the minutes? Any corrections, changes, emendations? I'll take another moment of silence to indicate that there are none. In which case, I will call for that first vote by acclamation to say if there is an approval of the annual minutes, and I'll raise my hand 125 times to say we're fine with that. Okay. Thank you all. Okay, so we will consider the minutes of the last annual meeting held on September 26th to be approved, and I will post the final versions. Yes, I will to the Society's website following our meeting today. So there, that takes care of the second item of business on our agenda. So we'll be over to you, Michael, as our treasurer for your report.
Thank you, Christian. Hello, everybody. will try to get my words out this morning or this afternoon. The society is in very good financial shape. I can report that our checking and savings accounts have, as of a week ago, a total of $372,176.66 on hand. That represents a growth of some $100,000 since we moved the accounts from Merrill Lynch to Vanguard about 4 years ago. So, and I want to recognize Nancy Vickers. Where'd Nancy go? Oh, there you are, Nancy, who pushed for this, and it was a wise decision that has led to increased financial prosperity for the society. So we're happy about that. We managed to balance our budget last year, which is to say that our income was slightly ahead of our expenses. So we continue to be in solid financial shape. And yesterday at the council meeting, we approved a budget. We approved an amended budget for 2020, and we will approve a budget for 2021. For 2021, and we will approve a new budget for 2022 in the fall. Any questions? Hearing none, I give the microphone back to the chair.
Okay. Very good. So a segue to the Treasurer's report is the report of the Audit Committee. And the charge of the Audit Committee is to ensure that our Treasurer is keeping faithful and accurate books, and that there are no inaccuracies in our account. So we meet periodically once a year to do that. Michael, as Treasurer, supplies the Audit Committee with financial documents that we review, ask certain questions about that, and then make a statement here. So I will now read the report of the Audit Committee, and which is a couple paragraphs long here, okay? So the Audit Committee, consisting of Susanna Barcella, who's actually with us here today. So hello, Susanna. Jason Alexander, myself, and Dabney Park as chair, with Michael Sherberg as our treasurer attending, met via conference call on Friday, February 15, actually it was May 3rd here. Sorry, the report looks like it needs to be amended there, to examine the 2020 year-end reports for the accounts of the Dante Society of America as submitted by the Society's treasurer, the Bank of America, and the Vanguard Investment Company. The committee is pleased to report that the accounts are in good order and that the financial health of the Society is sound. In 2017, the Society began transferring assets from Merrill Lynch to Vanguard investment accounts, and we opened a business checking account with Bank of America, completing the transfer of funds in 2018. The committee is pleased to note that this change has continued to improve the efficiency and transparency of the Society's financial operations, and with lower fees and a wider range of funds, has enhanced the ability of the endowment to grow. The committee suggested that the Secretary keep less than the current $27,172 balance in the active checking account, and the Treasurer has agreed to look into transferring an appropriate sum to the Vanguard account. In addition to fulfilling its charge to audit the financial statements and protocols of the Society, the committee recognizes the need for the Society to periodically review the performance of its investments and its fundraising and stewardship activities. The committee suggests that Council consider formally expanding its charge to include either or both of these roles, or to establish one or more separate committees to perform these functions on a regular or ad hoc basis, noting that, in fact, an ad hoc investment committee was constituted a few years ago, resulting in the recommendation adopted by Council to shift investments from Merrill Lynch to Vanguard. Council has also at times organized formal fundraising committees. And this report respectfully submitted on behalf of the committee by Dabney Park, chair of the Audit Committee, with Christian DuPont, Jason Alexander, and Susanna Barcella as members. Any questions on the content of either the Treasurer's report or the Audit Committee report? I will again ask that we approve those reports otherwise. So I'll make that motion to approve. Second. Okay. All in favor? Okay, good. Thank you. We're moving through the truly business items of our meeting here. Great. So I guess it's back to me now as the Secretary of Librarians report. And so this is my mainly a membership report on the Society. So I will include more detailed statistics and tables of numbers of members in different categories with the minutes of this meeting. But just to give you the more important statistics and a little sense of their interpretation, I'm glad to say that the membership of our society continues to be strong and growing this year, not surprisingly, being the 700th anniversary year of Dante's death here. We anticipated perhaps a growth in membership. Our membership year runs from January 1st to to December 31st. So that's how we reckon it. So I'm giving you reports now on the 2020 membership year, as well as kind of how we're doing by comparison in 2021 here. So but then anyone who joins the society after September 1st, we reckon their dues as being for the next year. So in September 2020, which is the end of our 2020 membership year, we had 434 members overall. 248 were regular members, and then we have other categories such as high school teachers. There were 16 of those. Students, 61 students. This is in September 2020. 85 LICE members, and 13 honorary members and 5 fellows. As of May 2021, so in the last few months here, we have added members in all categories, except we've lost 1 life member. Fortunately, although we've gained another. There are 268 regular members, 17 school teachers, 78 students, and for a total of 471 members overall. So in our regular membership category, just this year, that's a 17% difference from last year, which is pretty, or 7% difference, which is quite significant. A growth of 32 members in our student category was the largest one overall. So that's really quite encouraging. And we were reflecting yesterday at council meeting, which we normally hold the day before the annual meeting, that may be in fact due to the very active graduate student societies that have emerged in the UK and in Ireland over the last year or so that have been planning conferences, some of this in the excitement of running up to the 700th anniversary year again. And there may be a phenomenon going on here of the Dante Society of America serving as proxy, to use that word again, for all Anglophone Dantists throughout the world here. So there's a Società Dantesca Italiana based in Florence, and then the Dante Society of America. There are Dante societies in the UK, being the Oxford Dante Society, the Manchester Dante Society, which may be reinvigorated in this year. But in terms of a national or transnational society, I think the Dante Society is becoming increasingly visible and a good sign of our health, and even is represented by many of you from different countries and time zones on our meeting today. So encouraging news for us that our membership numbers remain strong, and we hope that members do find benefit from the society and will continue to renew in future years. I think that's all I'll say for the membership category as well, except to say that in this last year, there were actually a total of 52 new members in all categories. And the way Johns Hopkins University Press, our publisher and also provider of membership services, defines that as if it's been more than 3 years since somebody renewed, they then become a new member if they join again. But most people that are new members are truly new members here. And of course, there's some who don't renew. So that's where, there's a little bit of turnover in our membership every year, which is, again, kind of reflective, and this is in line with previous years. So again, healthy membership. Otherwise, as secretary, I do other things to like, maintaining the website to make sure that all of the current information about our various events, annual conferences, sponsored sessions at other societies are all covered there, maintaining the mailing list. We have also, since our last council meeting last September or November rather, launched, as many of you know, a Twitter account and revived our Facebook account. And I think Allison's already referred to this, and that's been great, outreach for the society. And we already have more than 470 followers on Twitter, and which is, again, a way of really promoting and publicizing the society and helping to engage members. So we'll continue those activities, of course, going forward. And then also getting our recordings of our conferences, online conferences, on our YouTube channel. So we will be getting shortly the recordings from last September's conference, which have now been nicely edited. Thank you Michael for working on that diligent chore to our YouTube channel, and then our 2021 symposium just finished. Those of you who attended that, you can still log in to the Feedloop platform you use to actually attend conference sessions and watch recordings there for about the next 3 weeks or so. And then we'll work with our colleagues at Harvard to migrate those to our Dante Society YouTube channel. So you'll be able to watch them there. And then once they're on that channel, we'll also promote them, because as Allison highlighted very much in her remarks, we want Dante related content to be freely distributed by the Society. And we will promote it in that way. So I'll leave my report there unless there are any questions about that. Good. All right, hearing none, I will ask Christina Olson, as chair of our nominating committee, to give a report on the nominating committee's activities and the outcome of our council elections.
Thanks, Christian. Hello, everybody. I am very pleased to present the following report on behalf of the nominating committee, for which I served as its chair for this past year. The other members of this year's committee were Eleonora Stupino and Guy Raffa. So I'm going to thank them for a very smooth and easy deliberation process. And I'd also like to thank the members of the Society for nominating strong candidates for the 2 open positions on the council to be vacated by Peter Hawkins and Olivia Holmes at the conclusion of this annual meeting. I am also very grateful to the 4 candidates who stood for election for the 2 vacating seats. So those 4 candidates were Dennis Looney, Director of the Office of Programs and Director of the Association of Departments of Foreign Languages at the Modern Language Association; Donatella Stocchi Perucchio, the Associate Professor of Italian in the Department of Modern Languages and Cultures at the University of Rochester; Jelena Todorovic Vilas, I'm saying it wrong, Associate Professor of Italian in the Department of French and Italian at the University of Wisconsin-Madison; and Paola Ureni, Associate Professor of Italian at the City University of New York. The slate of candidates was generated by members' nominations and the committee's considerations in balancing rank, gender, and contributions to the field of Dante studies. So I am very pleased to announce that the Society's membership has elected Dennis Looney and Jelena Todorovic as the new members of the council. Please join me in congratulating them. I see Jelena is here. Both will serve 3-year terms in keeping with the Society's bylaws. A total of 87 ballots were received, including 1 abstention, from a total eligible voting membership of 392 for a voting participation rate of 19.7%. And I only had those figures because Christian DuPont so generously generated them for me. And I would like to thank him personally for all of his help in over the past year with this committee. So Secretary DuPont will initiate an election among the new and continuing council members during the week following this annual meeting to elect a new vice president for a 1-year term from the eligible council members in keeping with the Society's bylaws. And thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Christina. I know that the nominating committee does take really quite a lot of time and thought to put together a slate. And so thank you for your service for a couple of years now, running in this last year as chair on that important committee. And again, thanks to Ken. So you mentioned the name of Olivia Holmes, who is our outgoing council member and vice president, and has also in this last year chaired the prize committee. And so Olivia now will give us a report on behalf of the prize committee.
Okay, hello everyone. I have to say that was not chair of the prize committee. That's all right.
Sorry, Olivia, we're getting too much credit for do there. Sorry,
the
that's
current
indeed.
prize committee chair is Francesco Ciabattoni, who will be stepping down after this meeting, and I will be taking over as chair of the prize committee. The committee currently consists of Francesco, William Stephanie, and myself. As Francesco steps down, Fabian Alfie will be joining us as a new committee member in the coming year. In addition, Barbara Rosenbilt has been assisting with the promotion and the judging of the Durling Prize, which is very welcome given her background as a secondary school teacher and as the winner of the inaugural Durling Prize. Following the fall 2020 council meeting, the prize winners in each category were announced in a message to the Society's mailing list and posted to the Society's website. I have to say the choice of winners was a very difficult one this past year because there were many truly excellent applications. The Dante Prize for the best undergraduate essay was awarded to Matthew Canonico of the University of Notre Dame for his fascinating mathematical essay, The Divine Punto, From the Mirror Experiment to the Primo Mobile. The Charles Hall Grandgent Award for graduate students was presented to Natale Vacalebre of the University of Pennsylvania for his important study, Paradiso e Purgatorio Riconquistati, un incunabolo dantesco in America e il riscoperto autore delle sue chiose, which makes a significant contribution to the field. The 5th annual Durling Prize for Excellence in Teaching Dante at the secondary level was awarded to Terry Quinn of St. Louis University High School in St. Louis, Missouri. Quinn's more than 25-year commitment to teaching, to Dante's text, to the culture of medieval Italy, and to the culture of medieval Italy shine through his own statements, syllabi, and assignments, as well as his students' exceptionally high-quality work. The Dante Prize carries a monetary award of $500, the Grandgent Award of $750, and the Durling Prize of $1,000. The deadline for submissions for both the Dante Prize and the Grandgent Award for student essays is this coming June 30th. And I should perhaps mention in this venue that it's open to students at North American colleges and universities. So I'm sorry to all you international professors out there. The Durling Prize recognizes excellence in teaching Dante by educators working in North American secondary schools. Nominations for this prize must be received by July 1st and a complete dossier by September 1st. The committee urges members of the Dante Society to encourage students eligible for the first 2 prizes to submit their work and to nominate eligible secondary educators for the Durling Prize. For further descriptions of the prizes, please see the DSA website. Thank you.
Thank you, Olivia, and for continuing your service then now, Mr. Dermody, as chair, going off council there. So that's wonderful. There was a question from Danielle about, does North America include Canada? Yes, we could affirm that very vigorously even after our last conference, Dante for the Americas. It does, and you can, and even U.S. territories too. So if you know someone in Guam, it's terrific. You can find, as Olivia mentioned, the full details and all of the criteria for applications on our website under prizes. Right there on the homepage is a link to that. So, and please encourage your students. I think we'll Olivia and I will coordinate on getting some more messages out to people over our DSA mailing list and social media. This is, I think many of you are teaching now, just been wrapping up semesters. Maybe you have some papers in your hand right now that should be submitted here. And I think you mentioned, Olivia, yes, that all entrants receive a gratis, for the essay prizes, gratis membership for the society in a year. Right?
I didn't, so thank you for
Very good.
reminding everyone. Yes.
And this really works. Among others out there, I was saying hello to Alex earlier, Alex Quadrado, who won the prize one year at Princeton and has remained a member since and pursuing his career in Dante studies, and we're very pleased. So this is a good thing. So please encourage submissions there. Very good. And with that, I think, Alice, we can go back to you. You've given us already in your welcoming remarks some real highlights of the society, but perhaps you have some additional things that you'd like to report on and have us be thinking about towards the year ahead.
Thank you, Christian, and thank you for keeping me on track. So if I forget to say something, I'm fully expecting you to remind me of it, or anybody else who notices. And I'd like to echo the call for submissions for the various prizes, to repeat our warm welcome to our new counselors, Dennis Looney and Yelena Todorovic, as well as to wish a warm farewell in gratitude to our dear friends and colleagues who are currently cycling off, Peter Hawkins and Olivia Holmes. I would also like to take this moment, thank you. I'd also like to take this moment to remember Robert Hollander, whom we lost this year, as you know, on April 20th. A Princeton alumnus, he taught at Princeton for over 40 years. He is remembered as a major voice in American Dante studies, hearkened to even in Italy, as Giuseppe Ledda recently reminded us in a Dante workshop held or sponsored by the Rome Global Gateway at the University of Notre Dame. In addition to his influential scholarship and teaching, he also pioneered projects in the digital humanities. The Dartmouth Dante Project that put online all the historical commentaries on the Divine Comedy, as well as some contemporary ones, including his own. The Princeton Dante Project that he founded features an annotated virtual edition of the Divine Comedy, Dante Lab, and the electronic bulletin of the Dante Society, if I understand correctly, eventually became Dante Notes. He was also president of the Dante Society of America from 1979 to 1985. We are working in the society on ways that the society might honor his legacy, both in the recent aftermath of his passing and in the years ahead of us, so stay tuned for that. I see in the minutes from our last meeting in September that I noted the impact of the global pandemic as if it were something that would not be at issue in the present one, but of course it still is. I somehow thought it would be the last time I would say it. But here are some updates on our activities. Our Twitter handle, which we acquired only last year during the pandemic, I believe, it's at the Dante Society, has been a hub of traffic, magisterially monitored and orchestrated by council member Professor Daniel Caligari. In the way social media works, every instance of use of our Twitter can increase its traffic exponentially. So this is a reminder to myself that we can add it to our syllabi, for example, and indeed to our email signatures, as you'll see that Christian Dupont does in his messages to you. So let's tweet about Dante and get everyone talking. Tweeting was at a fever pitch on the 25th of March, declared by some authority or other to be Dante D or Dante Day. The society marked the day with Italian colleagues in Italy, in particular the Opera di Santa Croce in Florence, the art-filled church and monastery where Dante says he studied, and which is now presided over on the front steps by a tall, brooding statue of him. It is also the location of his cenotaph, the empty tomb that the city that exiled him built in his honor. With the Opera di Santa Croce and the Casa Italiana Zerelli Marimò, we launched on Dante D a social media call to action called #ReadMeDante, which you can also put on your syllabi, for example, or in your email signature. The idea being that people all over the world can contribute to it by making recordings under 33 seconds of lines from Dante's poetry in whatever language they prefer, thereby dramatizing the reach of his words, thanks to the magic and the work of translation, and demonstrating that he has something to say to everyone, everywhere, and in every time. Since our last meeting, the Society sponsored a panel on contemporary reception of the Divine Comedy at the Modern Language Association meetings in January, featuring a look by Simone Marchesi at political cartoons, and also by David Bowe on Rachel Owens' Inferno illustrations. The session was organized and chaired by Professor Elizabeth Coggeshall from Florida State University. Liaison Aileen Fang organized 5 panel sessions for the 2021 Renaissance Society of America meeting this past April on Dante's legacy. Scholars presented research on Dante and measurement, Dante and Boccaccio, Dante and the visual arts, Dante in Renaissance Italian literature, Dante in European politics and religion. For the International Congress on Medieval Studies, normally hosted in Kalamazoo, Michigan, Liaison Professor Akash Kumar organized 3 panels on subjects involving bodies, senses, spaces, poetry, philosophy, and history. This took place this past May 10th. All of these events have been online. Finally, our own conference, long planned to honor this 7th centenary in collaboration with Harvard University, took place over 10 days this month. And I asked Peter Hawkins if he wouldn't mind to be the voice of summing up what we did. So if you don't mind, Peter. Peter, you're muted.
Okay. We expected to be at Harvard and in Cambridge. We expected to be the guests of Harvard University, represented on our little committee by Ambrogio Camozzi Pistoia and Carol Chiodo. We expected to have art exhibits, manuscript exhibits, receptions, all kinds of in-person things. Instead, we had to reinvent the conference. The problem with the reinvention, from my point of view, was the platform, the difficulties with attending the events. That was worked out over the course of the 10 days, but it was a problem for many. On the other hand, there was everything else. I mean, it was a really interesting conference with different foci. I mean, we had the Dante in Latin America, who knew? We learned a lot. Then there was the Dante in Cambridge in the 19th century, about which we knew, but we didn't know about all those women readers and women writers. And there's a lot that we learned about territory that we had thought we explored already. And then there was the mixture of images, words, languages, and can I say, a kind of affective warmth to the proceedings that I thought was wonderful and unusual for a conference. This morning, to review the conference, I went back to events that I hadn't been able to access in the moment. Alberto Manguel's magisterial opening lecture, and then the wonderful dialogue between him and Carol Chiodo that followed, a kind of Q&A. Just wonderful, warm. I would like to be Alberto Manguel when I grow up. And to hear him talk about how he came to Dante, how in the last 15 years, Dante has become a constant companion, both answered my own experience, but was wonderful to hear in his articulation. And then the conference ended with two poets, who read their own poetry, Kevin Young and Robin Costa Lewis, who had met earlier to dialogue about Rauschenberg's illustrations of the Inferno, but who came together under our auspices, she on the West Coast, he in Washington, to talk about their ongoing relationship to Dante. And I came away from that not only wanting to know more about their own work and prizing their appreciations of Dante, but feeling that our poet is alive and well in the world today. So that's my big takeaway from the conference, and it was a gift.
Thank you. Thank you, Peter, for summing it up as I knew you could so well. And thank you also for being on that committee and the rollicking ride that we had over the years together with Christian and Ambrogio and Carol Chiodo. So we believe that the conference provided very good material that will be able to be published in the 2021 issue of Dante Studies. The journal has been delayed by the pandemic, as you may have noticed. You should have received volume 137, which is 2019 volume, at the end of last year, or maybe the very beginning of this year. Editor Justin Steinberg reports that the 2020 issue, volume 138, is complete, but still in the copy editing process. And we hope that it's going to appear at the beginning of the summer. With strong contributions and an accelerated copy editing process, we have hopes that volume 139, which is the 2021 centenary volume, will also be able to come out in this calendar year, catching us back up as we go forward. So I remind the membership that Dante Studies is always looking for good work to publish and expects that the membership is fertile ground for the very best work being done on our subject. The journal holds to the highest standards of double-blind peer review, which makes it an invaluable service that the editorial board provides of reading and critique, even for those submissions that do not make the cut for a particular issue. So please do submit your work, your best work, and encourage other scholars, young and old, in whatever discipline to do so as well. Instructions are on the website. I remind you that the premier journal of scholarship on our poet, Dante Studies, is not our only venue of publication. You can find Dante Notes on the website, ably edited by Simone Marchesi of Princeton and his editorial board. This is a venue that can publish less formal, less scholarly, shorter, less traditional forms of engagement with the poet. We regularly publish student work there in a section entitled Student Encounters. Dante Notes, however, also has high standards, but it does publish things that would not appear in an academic journal like Dante Studies. I'm grateful to the editorial boards of both our publications for the long and hard work that they do, not only to determine what should be published, but to advise and critique all the work that is submitted for their review. The Canto per Canto video series is ongoing. All 100 cantos have been spoken for. About 70 have aired, 80 have been recorded. They will continue to be issued throughout the summer, every Monday and Wednesday, alternating among the 3 canticles, Inferno, Purgatorio, and Paradiso. I think many of you, if not all of you, have contributed to that. So that's been just great fun. Very soon we will be mounting a list, which maybe you've been wanting, a list of all the conversations in the order of the poem itself, rather than in their airing schedule as it is now. So you'll be able to find quickly a link to whatever canto you're looking for, or perhaps whatever contributor, maybe even yourself, that you want to review. So we will be doing that, and it'll be posted on the website. It's my intention, because we will be finishing airing those Canto per Canto videos, we'll be done airing them at the end of August. And I would like to continue to finish out the centennial year with a series of similarly limited 20-minute conversations between 2 people, mostly, not tied to particular cantos, but to particular contemporary readerships in different parts of the globe, among different demographics, for different reasons. So if you belong to or know about a group studying Dante that goes beyond our shores or our ivory towers, please get in touch with me, as I would be very interested in featuring them in this series. One that I'm already in conversation about is with Ron Jenkins, who you might have seen in our recent conference, where he would actually be dialoguing with one of his formerly incarcerated students who produced some creative work. So that sort of thing would be very welcome. So I think with that, I've covered everything I remember to cover, if there's no comment or question about what I just said, I could ask for new business. Christina?
Hi, thank you for that, Alison. I have a quick question. This might even be more for Christian, about the latest issue of Dante Studies, so volume 137. I've been hearing from a lot of people that they haven't gotten their copy, including contributors to the forum on pedagogy. And I was wondering if this is a widespread problem that we need to sort of worry about and contact Johns Hopkins JHU about, or not. So just to let you know, I just heard from Arne Eisner, whose membership is current. He hadn't gotten his copy either, and so forth.
That's interesting, Christina. Well, sorry to hear that. We did, you and I, work on another contributor's case, and what made this a little tricky is, just so for awareness, to answer the question for those of you in hearing on the annual meeting, or maybe listening to the recording of this that we'll be posting, that you need to be a member in the year in which corresponds to the volume. So there's been a couple of cases where somebody says, I didn't receive my issue of Dante Studies, and this is in 2021. And we're speaking about, because unfortunately the 2019 issue was delayed for various reasons, not least the pandemic at the end of its production cycle. But they in fact weren't a member. They remembered differently. So it is possible to buy back issues in print. So that's just something to be aware of. Yes, the Postal Service, things were certainly lost this last year. I think we probably all had that experiences, unfortunately, where sometimes even a utility bill statement or something important has been literally lost in the mail. That's quite possible, in which case I do ask or recommend to members who have not gotten their issue to contact Johns Hopkins University Press. The contact information is on our website, and essentially to initiate a claim process. I did not receive my copy. Yes, I was a member. They can verify that. And I believe they can follow up. I don't as secretary, or Justin Steinberg as our editor of Dante Studies, we don't have physical stock. We cannot ourselves mail things, but we are happy to mediate requests. But again, Johns Hopkins will fulfill those. So I have at times being aware of those difficulties of the postal system whenever we've given updates about Dante studies, to indicate that, to please report situations. So Christine, I'm sorry to hear, we'll follow up, with Martin there.
Yeah,
And
sure.
if any others on the call are aware of that, please let us know. Olivia has a question. Authors don't receive, I guess contributors don't receive contributor copies. I'm not actually sure how that works. That's probably a better question for Justin. Maybe you would know that, Christine.
Yeah, they do. So if you're a contributor, you should receive, I believe, an extra 2 copies.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, so confirming that. I forgot how that worked with JHCP, so that's another indication. All right, so the other thing to emphasize here, and maybe Allison, you gave us so many updates on the benefits of membership, but to highlight again is that all members have access to Dante studies online. Now, we all like to have the print copies for ease of reading, keep on our bookshelves, okay, give to other friends, but don't feel like you can't access Dante studies, because if you're a member of the society, go to the website, in the very top bar, access Dante studies, and it will tell you the various ways that you can do that. The most current issues are available through what's called Project Muse, Johns Hopkins University electronic platform. Older issues on a moving 5-year wall are available through JSTOR. Even if you are not affiliated with an academic institution, by virtue of your membership in the Dante Society, you can access both. You can actually access additional JSTOR content by being a virtual member, by being a member of the Dante Society as well. Again, if you're not affiliated with an academic institution, so a great benefit there.
Okay, anything else in the chat or new business or any comments? Otherwise, I think we can move to adjourn. I thank you all for coming. I thank anybody who listens to this afterwards as a member. And thank you all for all your work.